Hey again, and welcome to another episode of Success Builders. Hope you're all doing well. Today I have with us Sharon Cullington. How are you doing today, Sharon?
I'm great. Thank you, Ricardo, and thank you for having me on the show.
No, absolute pleasure. So, where are you calling in from?
I live in Australia, in New South Wales, in a gorgeous little suburb called Pearl Beach, and
Oh,
we're full of mountains and beaches and trees. It's just beautiful.
I can see behind you. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, lovely, lovely suburb. It's a bit of a
Um,
hidden secret.
yeah, for sure. Looks like a tropical paradise. So, I understand that you're a parent coach and you're an author. So the audience is going to be really interested to learn about more about what you do and what changed in your life that led up to you having that pivotal moment where you decided to be a parent coach and an author. So run us through a bit of it.
Thank you. Yes, it's funny how we hear this all the time, but we hate to believe it. But disaster really does set us on the right track. And I'd been working in fashion for 25 years. I had five boutiques. I had the first one when I was 19. And funnily enough, I never really loved that work. Um, and I believe too that when you do what you love, then it never feels like work. And that's definitely what happened for me. So I was busy being busy. I had three small children and a couple of shops at the time. And people were trying to stop me at the school and say to me, do you ever take time to smell the roses? And I go, what are you, insane? Or, take time to ponder. I don't even know what that means. Sorry. And they try and stop me every time I go up and down the school driveway. But that stopped when they saw I wasn't responsive. And a few other of my friends would tell me things that were going on. But finally, I went to see a psychic. And the psychic said to me, all I remember is, your life as you know it in 2 weeks will be gone. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, your life as you know it in 2 weeks will be gone.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, you just need to be prepared. So I went home and I thought he was a little bit kooky perhaps and got on with my life. Until one day when one of my staff came down and said something to me that my husband had been doing that was unforgivable. And I confronted him with it. And then I found out there were other things that were going on. And I just said, I can't put up with this anymore. But I was the sort of woman that wanted to be married for life. And I didn't want to break my children's family up. And I did sort of have notions of things going on, but I chose to ignore them. And I think a lot of mums do that. They, see the big picture and forget about the other things that are going on. So uh, what happened was I got my husband to sign a power of attorney and asked him to go and stay with his friend for a month in another state while I just sold everything up. And I sold the shops, all the stock inside, didn't matter what price anyone wanted to offer. Yes, just take it. Cash, give me cash, give me cash. Paid off all the bills and nothing left. That's after 25 years of working in fashion and 15 years, raising some assets to end up with nothing.
That's
And
heartbreaking. I'm sorry to hear.
thank you. It was really hard. But I had the three most important things in my life still, three very healthy, very happy children.
That's
But I
amazing.
did notice that I had spoilt them a bit. Now that I wasn't going to work every day and I was home with my children, I realized that I'd let them get spoiled. Like they didn't really help around the home. They were a little bit entitled and wanted something now. Uh, and I started thinking, like, this isn't working for me. So what I did when we got the separation, I always tried to bring them up with the feeling that there's hopefulness in
Yeah,
sight. And in
yeah,
life, we actually have to do things we don't want to do. And
true.
we can whinge and complain and carry the burden for a long time, or we can just think, well, I'll get it done quickly. I'll enjoy myself while I do it if that's possible, and then I can get on with having fun again. And that's pretty well how I raised them. So I did the same thing with the separation. I sat them all outside, and it was summertime. We cut up some mangoes, and when we were sitting on the furniture outside, and I said, things have changed, and Mummy and Daddy are not going to be living in the same house anymore, and Daddy's going to go and live in another house. And they went, oh, what does that mean? And I said, well, for a start, every Christmas, you know how you get one really big present every Christmas? From now on, you'll be getting two. Like, you're goody. Okay, got any more mangoes? But that was basically the end of that conversation. And it was true. They really didn't suffer over it because I think they were more always engaged with the mother, which children often are. And I would always put all their bad news with some good news. And so
Yeah.
that made them feel like I was more fun to be with. And so when I'd stayed home with them about a month and found out that I'd spoilt them, I sat them down once again and said, my darlings, you know I love you, but this isn't working for me. And they go, what? And I said, well, I'm not the servant in the house and you're the entitled beings. Like, we're a family and a team. And I've got to do some work and you've got to do some work as well. And I've got to find a way to make money. So I'm going to do a lot more work, which means you've got to do a lot more work. So sit down, we'll have another mango conversation. Sat them up on the outdoor furniture and we sat down and I said, well, who's good at stuff? Who likes doing some things? Who likes folding washing? And who likes cleaning the bath? And who likes vacuuming? And so they're all going, not really.
I don't think anyone put their hand up. I
Well,
can
hands going
imagine
up.
nobody put their hand up.
So anyway, we finally worked it out and we had a roster and we wrote down all the things that everyone could do to help. And it wasn't long before we actually lived near the school. So mums would call in and say, how things going? And then they'd notice like the children were like sweeping up the porch before they grabbed their bag to go to school or washing up the dishes from all the kids. And they'd say, how come your kids help all the time and they're happy to
I
do
need to
so?
know the secret myself.
I said, oh, I don't know. I just make it fun for them, I guess. So then I started realizing good parenting isn't being serious or making it like, we all have to do this. It's more about being a little bit firm when you have to. And that's not with aggression, it's just with a tone of voice. And being fair, like everybody has to help, not just one person or two, and make it fun. Because at the end of the day, kids want fun, don't they? They want to have fun all the time. Like anything that you can't, they're being distracted with, it's because they're having fun. So you've got to find out, how do I make it more fun than those other things so that they want to come on board with me? And I did.
Can you give us an example?
Well, we played lots of games. So a lot of the time, first of all, I started a hierarchy in the house. So it's not everybody's equal because I'm the one that's earning the money and looking after everybody. And I've lived all these years, so I've got a lot more wisdom. So I'm sorry to tell you, but while I'm bigger than you have to do what I say. When you get bigger than me, then I'll listen to you. So how does that sound? They go, oh, good, there's some hope. And because I'd always deliver the bad news with a bit of hope, they knew that I was going to be fair. So they never felt burdened with anything. And then I always would give them a reason why they've got to be able to look after themselves. And, one day, like sometimes there's people like those kids down the street and they haven't learned anything at all. So what about when they leave their mummies and daddy and go and get their own home? Who's going to look after them if they don't know how to do anything? So I'd make up stories all the time. And I'd make up other stories. Like I remember once I was talking to my mum on the phone and I'm saying, Oliver's trying really hard. He's doing such a good job. And the boys, it's harder to get them to do the work, but the boys are the ones that love their mum the most. So they'll do it for mum. And I'd say, oh, he's doing really well. And I'm so happy with, what he's achieved. And I'd look around the corner and he's sitting there building his Lego and he's got a big smile on his face. And I thought, oh, this is very different to me telling him what a good boy he is. It's about him thinking that I'm telling everyone else what a good boy he is, you
Right.
see? And so I would use that over the years, like if he and his sisters weren't talking or they'd have an argument, I'd say, oh my God, Vanessa was saying, how fun you are to be around, like you're the best brother ever. And then the next thing you know, he's going up to you and saying, hey, do you want to come and play? Or can I help you? So it's like, it's just using all this psychology. And I think parents today think that you've always got to tell the truth. Well, nobody tells the truth, really. We all make up fibs and lies and things all the time. So why not do it for a good cause rather than a bad cause? Because they've grown up and they've realised what I did, of course, but I still do it with them and they still do it with each other. So it's like a gift that they've been given, and it's a make-believe world, really. Like I feel like we're in some sort of a make-believe world, and it can be fun or it can be really hard work. So, we've just decided to make it fun. And it's so lovely now. They're all in their 30s with a 41-year-old, and they're still like that. They have a real joy for life. And I'm watching my eldest one with her 3 children, parenting exactly the way that I did with her, spoiling them a little bit like I did with her, but helping them to realize that they've got to contribute to the world as well. And it's not just about them.
That's fantastic. And then one thing I was actually going to say earlier is that how you said that you bring the good news with the bad, and it reminds me of the quote from Mary Poppins where she says a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Right?
Yeah. Well, I've been called Mary Poppins, and babies call me Shazzy, so Shazzy Magic. Like I've
Okay,
got
you do have the Mary Poppins vibe, I must say. You do.
but it works, and they love
Yeah,
it, which is the
yeah, it's
funny
so good.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, how does all this translate into coaching now? Run us through that side. Like, how do you start your coaching business, and what does a coaching engagement typically look like?
So it was the same time that I lost the shops and the marriage and all of that, that I had to find a new career. And it turned out once I'd got the children listening and loving learning, that I loved being around them. And as the other mothers kept saying to me, how do you do it? And I don't know. I just sort of like love kids and love playing the game with them. And so, so I forgot the question.
Oh yeah, so yeah, so the question was basically
How did I get into coaching?
how did you get into coaching, and what
Yeah.
does the coaching look like?
Yeah. So when I realized that I wasn't going to be in fashion anymore, I realized I had to find a new career, but I wanted one where I could be at home with the children because I really hadn't seen them a lot. I'd only see them for an hour at night and an hour in the morning and weekends. So I really had missed them and missed a lot. So I thought, well, at least here's my opportunity to find something else. So what I loved about fashion was talking to the customers in the dressing room on dressing them up and making them gorgeous and hearing all their stories. Like I really loved that. And always I have advice for them, because
You're like a
like
therapist as well.
and it was so fun. So then I thought, well, I'll do life coaching, and then I can do that for a living. And so I started off working with women because once I'd found how to work in a role that I was meant to be doing that I could love, I'm sure other people could do the same thing. So I had a business called Scope Coaching for women who want more. And I did that for a few years. But then I realized that a lot of the women were struggling with their children and they needed help with their kids. And so I also have this gift with anybody else's child. Like I talk to them as if they're an adult. And I don't let them get away with like a 5-year-old having a tantrum or acting like a baby. So I'll always talk to a child's face and look them in the eye every time I speak to them, not when I'm angry or when I've had enough, every time. Pat them on the shoulder. You're watching TV, darling, but I'm coming back in 5 minutes. Look at me. I'm coming back in 5 minutes to turn the TV off, or I might let you do it if you want to. Oh, I run the bath and come, okay, it's 5 minutes. It could be two. 5 minutes now. I'll turn the TV. Oh, do you want to? Okay, you can. Come on, grab their hand and walking through. Yeah, well, how was your day? And, so they haven't sort of got time to think I don't like that. So you're bamboozling them a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so then I turned my scope coaching into ACE Kids, where I worked with kids and I'd go to their families and watch the dynamics that were happening within the home. And I could see instantly what the problem was. The parents were trying to convince the children how to do things. rather than just say, okay, we're doing this now, quickly, hurry up, I'll get you started, and if you get them started and get them onto it, they feel like, oh, I can finish it. It's the starting of anything that's hard, isn't it? So
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you can always get them started, that's really good. At the same time I did the coaching, I also studied early childhood. So I went to TAFE and did childhood for about 18 months. So I thought that would help me understand children more. And I worked in some daycare centres and I became a nanny and I was doing lots of things, but always with children. And I could just see the patterns working with every family. So eventually, the mother stopped saying to me, how do you get your kids to behave? But you should write a book about this. But I left school very early to work in fashion. And so I hardly could write a sentence if I'd sit in an exam. But this is the passion that I found that I was born to do. So it's been very, very easy for me to see what's going on in the family and help guide the parents into how to stop some things and start some other things. And I promise you, instantly these things work. When a child knows you mean what you say, they will actually listen to what you're
That's
doing
right.
and want to come in on board with it. And this is not a lie. I've had a 7-week-old baby who I had twins and I was trying to feed the two of them at the same time in the middle of the night. It was a bit of a sad story because there was a 15-month-old who wasn't well. So the parents were 100% focused on that child and had 24-hour care with the twins. And I was doing the overnights, but I was trying to keep them silent throughout the
Right,
night.
right.
So I had to give them, as soon as they whack, I'll give them a bottle of it, set them up with some things under the bottle, and then get the other nappy change and that one sorted. But at 7 weeks, the little boy decided he wanted to suck his fingers every time it was feeding time. And so every time he'd shove his fingers in his mouth, the bottle's on the floor, and I'd have to go through the whole procedure again. So I started my usual that I do with toddlers. No, 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 don't do that, like that. And then I put the bottle in again, and his fingers are back in again. I did that about 3 times. I thought, what am I doing? So I took a deep breath and I looked into his eyes and I said, Teddy, Teddy, look at Shazzy. Teddy, look at, and his eyes turned around and looked at me like that and stared into my face. And I held his hand and I said, you can't put your hand in your mouth. And I showed him, you can't do that, darling. And I put his hand down beside him like that. Before that, I had him in a muslin wrapped up like that, but I don't know how he got his hand in, but he did. I put his hand down the side and I said, you keep your hand there while I feed you, darling. He's just staring in my eyes silently. So I put the bottle back up. Good boy. That's a good boy. Drank the bottle, didn't put his hand in. 3 hours later, woke up, settled him down, changed his nappy, put that bottle in, no hand going near his mouth. I mean, it works
That's
at
so good.
every
Yeah.
age. And I've done it with teenagers.
It's like a hypnotherapy type thing.
I hadn't thought of that, but I actually do hypnotherapy now. So when I have a client, I do an hour of finding out what's really going on for them, and then for 20 minutes we do what I call hypno Reiki. So I
Okay.
love learning, and I'm always learning new things. So I did Reiki back then, 20 years ago, maybe it was 30, I don't know. But I've just recently been doing hypnosis, and so I do the hypnosis, and something just drives me to do the Reiki online and in person, and it just seems to settle and calm and implant, more positive feelings in a person's body,
Yes.
and then they're able to move forward without so much stress and the conscious mind, driving them crazy all the time. So I give people mantras as well and get them to say empowering things to themselves in the mirror and really with loud voices, and I get them to practice it with me, and I go, oh, I don't believe that one, can you say it? Okay. And really try and make it fun as well, because I just think if
Okay.
you're not having fun, what's life about?
Yeah, exactly. You only live once and life is short. So it must
Just existence, isn't it? And misery.
yeah,
Like, you've got to
yeah,
make it as much fun as you can, is my belief.
yeah. And you also wrote a book about this, right? Show us the
Da-da!
book. Show us the book. There we go. Who put the kids in charge?
It's back to front, I know, but yeah, I don't know.
That's
I
so
felt
good.
like I channeled that title. I actually only thought of one or two titles, and then this one kept coming into my mind. So I thought, well, That's exactly what's going on.
It's a really good title.
Thank
So,
you.
how long did it take you to write the book?
A long time. As I said, I'm not a writer, so it took probably 5 years. But
Oh,
I
wow.
was lucky with COVID because I was able to stay in and I had the time to actually focus on it. And that's when I brought the whole thing together because I'm still doing it now. I'm just writing, 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 writing all the time. It helped me to stop writing and just start putting it in order. And there was a beautiful woman called Jane Turner who helped me as well. She helps people edit their books and turn them into a product, and so that was amazing. And so yeah, I've given away about 900 books. I think I've bought lots of books, and I just believe this is what families need to find out about right now in the world that we're living in, that children love a leader and they
Yeah,
love know what they're supposed to do and not try and have to work everything out for themselves.
that's actually really good. And so if someone wanted to get hold of the book, where would they go?
You can find it on Amazon,
Okay,
and anyone
we'll
who's up
share the links here.
the
Yeah,
Central Coast in Australia, I'm doing a book launch at Gnostic Centre in Woy Woy on the
nice.
14th of December. And if anybody contacts me, I can give them a PDF copy for free. It's not as easy to read, but what I've been told about this book is that I know mums are busy and who's got time to read a whole book anyway, but you could just open it up like on any page when you're having a problem with your child. So you could keep it in the kitchen bench or next to your bed and read a paragraph. It says, if you find your child has an attitude you don't like, I suggest you start by looking at yourself to see if you ever project that sort of attitude.
Oh, so funny.
It's time to take a good look. So the message in the book too has three sections, and one is wake up.
Mhm.
I was asleep for all those years. I didn't see what was going on, but waking up is just be aware. And when you slow down, you actually can quieten your mind and really see what's going on around you because we miss it in the busyness. And the third thing is take charge. This is your family. This is your life. You had children so that your family life would make you happier and enjoy it
Yeah,
more. But if you're struggling and children aren't fun to be around most of the time, then you just might need to reevaluate how you're speaking to them because it all
yeah,
starts with the communication and the connection, and it helps everybody to feel like they belong and they're loved no matter what. I used to tell my children things like, I don't care if you murder someone, tell me about it
tell me
because
about it.
I'm on your side. Don't do it, but I'm on your side. And they
Yeah,
remember things like that, like I love over exaggerating. I love making it sound like a drama or an excitement. But I think what children don't like is too many words in the same tone telling them that, mummy doesn't like it when you hit her in the face. And I don't think that you should be doing that because it's not nice. And they go, oh, whack. But if you go, hey, we don't do that to mothers, okay? Like, oh, sorry. So it's sort of taking charge with the energy as well as the words.
yeah, that's so good. And yeah, so what we'll do is we'll include the links to your book in the description. So please send it to me after the show in Messenger, and then I'll make sure it all goes into the description. And also links to, do you have a coaching page or a coaching
My
booking form or
website is
anything
just
like that?
my name.com,
Okay.
sharoncullington.com.
Okay, cool. So we'll include that in the description as well.
Yeah,
And then anyone who needs a Mary Poppins in their life can reach out and make contact.
that's lovely. Thank you,
Uh,
Carlo, for this
no,
opportunity.
it's
I really want as many mums to hear about this as possible because it's really important that we give our children the ability to be able to get along in a tough world. The world's not getting easier. So we need to have all the virtues, the kindness and the resilience and the focus and all of the things that don't always come naturally to us that we need to learn.
definitely 100%.
Mm.
And I was going to ask you to give the audience one last message, but you just did. So that's absolutely perfect. And thank you for being on the show. And to all the audience out there, remember to click on the links and follow Sharon. Give her some support. She's doing great things. She's helping parents around the world. So show her some love. And until next time, dream big and build bigger. See ya.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. Really appreciate that.